everyone, Robert Kress here from LongevityLeague.com, and what I want to do is make a little special video presentation here for you. And it's about the basis really to all of our health, which is good nutrition, because we've always seen certain challenges come upon us over the years, but these challenges are getting greater right now, coming from our food sources, and it's a really important thing I wanted to speak to you about. We've been seeing this, since the advent of factory farming. Basically, with less minerals and less nutrition going in the soil, less nutrition is going to be coming out of it in our foods. An orange has what, 50% of the vitamin C content that it had 25 years ago. Other things that we're seeing increased genetically modified products coming out here. We don't know what this thing, they have not fully tested these things to say that they are safe to us, and we've already seen people, building intolerances to it. How about additives? The increase of additives to our food sources. Things like gluten. Gluten sensitivities have gone through the roof. Big intolerances. Big hormonal disruptions that way. MSG, one of the biggest triggers of migraines people have trouble with. A lot of different things. It's essentially a known neurotoxin. Artificial sweeteners, aspartame, leads to the most complaints to the FDA. And by the way, now we're seeing studies actually back in the fact that people actually gain weight with these diet sodas, so be careful with that. Increase in corn syrup, major issue, one of the biggest factors to weight gain. And also we've seen that it actually, it actually will promote tumor growth differently. Trans fats are going into our foods. We're basically getting non-foods here. If you look about it, our ancestors would just be in awe of what's going on right now, all leading to increased diseases and knocking down our health. Well, I've always said people do need to supplement, just because our food sources are devalued in nutrition, but also because we've got all these other counterproductive additives to them. But now we got new challenges on the rise, and that's what I want to speak to you about. Right now we're going through an interesting change within our global climate, basically on many fronts. One thing, fuel costs are getting ready to go higher. Okay, so now with higher fuel costs, what are you going to find? You're going to find basically higher transportation costs, higher food production costs, all leading to a higher rate of food costs there. The dollar's been spiraling, so basically, it's all about buying power. So what a dollar bought last year buys a lot less today, and you see that as the dollar goes down, food commodities and things like that, their prices go up. You just don't have the buying power. Weather's crazy. We have floods over different places of the country. We've got droughts, all affecting food production, which is going to lead to shortages and also influencing costs. On top of that, we got this new Food Safety and Modernization Act, which is just a really, it's an interesting thing we're looking at here. Obviously, they say it's a food safety bill, and sure, foodborne illnesses are an issue from these big factory-producing companies which do supply most to our food. So, something needs to be had. I really think people need to look at ways to start growing their own food, or even join co-ops which are backed by family farms. Usually these are membership oriented, to start getting a higher quality food to protect themselves, to make sure that they have enough food as well, because shortages we're seeing around the globe are starting to be an issue, which are probably going to come in hand here. Reason being, we've got a lot more bureaucracy and a lot more costs that are with this in this Food Modernization Safety Act, and it affects everyone. This Food Modernization Act does not cover the food that's coming into our country from other countries. So their production is probably going to increase as our local production cannot put out as much. On top of that, these family farms are being vilified. Yes, they can be exempt, but they have to apply for such exemption. But then they have certain factors. They can't make over $500,000 a year, which is absolutely absurd, un-American, basically telling someone they can only make a certain amount of money. They can only sell direct to consumers, which can be an advantage, because, hey, if we're those consumers, maybe we shouldn't be spending so much time in the grocery markets these days. Maybe we should be getting real foods in these cases. And plus, they can only ship within 270 or 250 miles of their home, so you need a co-op that's close to you. So I suggest you take a look at that. So these are just some things that we're forecasting. We're seeing that's actually, some of them are actually in the here and now, kind of present, but certainly coming on the horizon. So we suggest you take a look at that for the good of your health, for the good of having food around. Things to keep in mind. So once again, Robert here from LongevityLeague.com. Thanks a lot, and we'll be in touch. Take care.